have to practice my speech because I definitely don't remember it. Do I have that? Hi, how are you? Hey, Karina, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk about resumes and hopefully review some. Hey, Shimmy, how are you? Oh, okay. All right. I think I thought I was I thought I was on mute, but I guess not. So, hey, Vin, how are you? So we're gonna wait about 5 minutes to see who else shows up. And if not, we'll have a really nice and intimate group. Hey, Fawn, how are you? Good, I'm glad. All right, we're gonna wait a few more minutes and get started. How's everybody doing today? If you could put one word in the chat, that would be great. So Yifan is doing well. I am, how am I today? Yeah, I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired, but doing well. Yeah, if everybody can turn on their cameras, if it's not going to be that hard, that would be great. Hi, Gabriella. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're just putting in the chat how everybody is doing. So, yeah, no. And so I guess like we're in already mid-January, which is crazy. We just had like Christmas and the New Year, and it's already like almost February, which is wild. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Which I hope all of you are in our CodePath courses. I know they've already been done for a while, but hopefully, you've gotten some use out of them. Hopefully you've been able to review some stuff. Hopefully you've taken advantage of our career center. So all those things. All right, a few more minutes and we'll get started. Seems like we're going to be a small group today, which is fine. Yeah. And so who's excited to do some resumes? Yay, maybe not, maybe yes. I'm gonna turn on captions. Okay, I think, can you see my captions or not yet? Okay. Hmm. Okay, I'm not able to see my captions. Can anyone else see my captions? Okay. Perfect. Wait, you can see them? I can't see them. Okay. But they're there. You can see them. As long as y'all can see them, all good. All right, perfect. So yeah, okay, we're gonna wait one more minute and then we're gonna get started. We're just gonna do a little intro to resumes. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can y'all see my screen? Nope, not yet. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna wait one more minute. And then okay. And then go from there. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right. Can everybody see my screen? All right, awesome. We're gonna go right into the slideshow. So some of you might have seen this presentation before, but we try to keep it, all kind of uniform so that, it doesn't change from one day to the next. So if you don't have your camera on, if you could turn it on, that would be great. Thank you, Gabriella, for having your camera on. So we're gonna talk about your technical resumes and cover letters. So, who has a resume right now, and we can like put it in the chat, who has a resume right now that they like love, that they're like, yes, I want this, I am all about it. Like, who has that right now? And I'm trying to see the chat and everything at the same time. So that's why I stopped sharing for a second. Let's see. Okay, there it is. All right. So yeah, who has a resume that they love right now? Like in the chat, like that you're like, yes, I'm very proud of my resume. I'm just here because I wanna, learn more about resumes. Or who's like working on their resume right now. So Gabriella, it's better, but you can have better bullet points. How about the rest of you? How do you feel about your resume? Could be better. Okay. All right. It's good. It's good to be honest with ourselves, right? But I want to challenge you and ask you to say, okay, what could be better, right? Okay, so better bullet points seems to be a theme. That's good because we can
do it.
bullet
All right,
points.
I'm gonna show my face now.
Thank you, Shimmy, for showing your face. How about Vin or Yifan? How do you feel about your resume right now? If you want to chat or you can just speak. I'm going to go ahead and, okay, I'm not very confident. No, you're good, Shimmy, no worries. So Vin, not very confident about it. How come? Okay. Well, Vin, while you think about that, or I don't have a lot of relevant experience. Okay. So that totally happens, but I think we have more relevant experience than we give ourselves credit for sometimes. Thank you so much, Shimmy, for putting on the camera. We really appreciate it. So first things first, right? Because everybody's like kind of like about their resumes. So we want to talk about what is the point of a resume, right? So a resume is a marketing document, right? So it's not just to like put down what you've done. It's also to like market yourself and show how much impact you've been able to make for a company, right? It's also, its job is to get you an interview. It's not to actually get you a job. What that means is that you have to format your resume for recruiters to say yes and to swipe right versus like put you in the no pile, right? So you don't want to share all of the things that you've done, but you want to share enough to show like that you're a value add to any company that might want to hire you. Okay. And so who reads your resume? So there's software like ATSs, which is just used to like kind of house all of your information as a candidate. That kind of reads your resume and parses it in. Recruiters are the number one people that read your resume because they're the ones that actually review resumes. And they're the ones that have most of the say whether somebody goes forward or not. But also hiring managers and anyone you interview with also will look at the resume, and most likely when you're interviewing will ask you questions from your resume. So it's important to be prepared. And then lastly, hiring committee. So whenever your interview is done and they're deciding whether to hire you or not, usually there's a group of like maybe 4 or 5 people that are all around deciding whether, you're going to get hired, and your resume is definitely present in the room. What does that mean? Is that you want to make sure that you are working on your resume and get your resume to speak the best about you that it can, right? And it might take a few tries, and it might take a lot of editing, and it might take a little bit of time, but I promise you, whenever you know that, you're in that room, that final step, and you know that your resume is really good, it can help you feel really, really confident that you put so much work into it, because you know that that's going to help you get the job and maybe not be the deal breaker. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, perfect. So steps to creating a resume, right? And we're going to spend some time reviewing resumes. So for those of you who wanted to see more bullet points, we can actually do some live resume reviews. So the ground rules are no pictures. So I know in a lot of different countries, pictures might be the norm. but definitely not in the US. We don't like to use pictures, so definitely don't have a picture. Only one page. The reason for this is because it takes a recruiter about 6 seconds. Some it takes 30, but most it takes 6 to 10 seconds to review a resume, right? So if you have a second page, they're not going to turn that page. So you want to make sure that you have everything on that one page so that they're able to really see how great of a candidate that you are. Next one is no paragraphs of text. So like you want to speak in bullet points and short sentences, not paragraphs, because it's really difficult for someone to read a paragraph and try to find out, oh, okay, like this is what this person did, right? Have you guys ever tried to read a paragraph of text, of very small text, right? It's hard. It's really, really hard. So you don't want to put that on the recruiter. You want to keep it as simple as possible. The more that looks like everybody else's, the better. Because I know there's like a school of thought that's like, let me stand out, let me make it pretty, let me design it. But sometimes that actually takes away from the readability of it for both the recruiter and the ATS. So if you just find a really good template, I would just use that. We're going to go over what the CodePath template has. And then if you feel like you could use some design help, you can use that template, or there's other templates that you can use as well online. And you want to make sure that you're looking out for design and for readability. So like try to give this to like maybe some of your friends or maybe your family members to see what they say, right? If they're able to like pick things out, you probably did a good job. But if they're not, and they're like, this is a lot, that probably means you have to go and redesign it. Okay. So it's a really good test to do. So how do you create a resume? So basically you want to create an all-inclusive resume, we call it, but basically it's your master resume. And what that does is that just basically allows you to have everything that you've ever done in your life on like however many pieces of paper. It could be 3 pages, it could be 5 pages, 10 pages, right? You're going to put it down to 1 page, but you can also keep all of your experiences. And I think at the end of your career, it'd be really cool to look at it and be like, oh, wow, I did a lot of things, right? Number 2, you want to decide on what categories and structure. On this one, I say like, it's really good to go with tried and true methods, like, having education on there, having skills on there, having experience, projects, and leadership. Anything other than that, I'm kind of like, ask yourself why you want to put it on there, because again, you want to keep it as simple and as streamlined and familiar as possible to the person reading it. Okay, so you want to write, bullet points. So a lot of y'all mentioned, oh, well, my bullet points could be better. That's great. The fact that you wrote 1 bullet point is great, and it doesn't have to be the best bullet point. The reason why it's good to write out just 1 bullet point is because that helps the person either editing or helps you realize, okay, what exactly did I do, right? What did I do? How did I do it? And why does it matter? And it helps you realize what you're actually missing. So a lot of the times when I'm working with students, what happens is that they don't write any bullet points. And then they're like, okay, well, will you help me write one? And sure, I can, but I don't know what you did, right? So a lot of our sessions end up being like, okay, well, tell me about the experience, and I help craft a bullet point. But if you can do that and kind of tease out what you're trying to showcase, then we can craft a bullet point much faster, much quicker, much better. Okay, because it's going to be the second edit rather than the first. And we can talk about templates. I talked about templates. There's a lot of templates out there that are good. So if you're wondering what template to use, you can always ask, and I can direct you to either the CodePath Career Career Center resume template or another resume template as well. Okay, so talking about resume templates, this is CodePath's preferred resume template, and you can find this in the resume revamp resource, I believe. So the first thing, do you see how like non-exciting it is? Like it's very like boom, 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 boom. That's on purpose, right? Because it's easy to read. It's easy because there's so much white space. There's like a balance of white space and words, right? Do you see how easy it is to read? Yeah. So I know, like, I know I've seen probably in my lifetime, probably like 20,000 resumes. It's been a lot of resumes that I've seen. A lot of people try to like put everything on there, leave no white space. And it's like, it's way too much. It's way too overwhelming. And a lot of people try to not put enough stuff and leave too much white space. So it's like a balance of like how much white space. But I want you to take a look at this and see how easy it is to find everything. Right, we were talking about structure. So the structure should be your name at the top in the middle. Why? Because the middle allows your eye to go straight to the middle and look at everything, right? As humans, we are driven by design, and a resume is no different, right? This is why people pay so much attention to like website design and also interior design and all types of design, because if you have good design, people are more likely to engage with whatever you have in front of them, right? So if your resume maybe doesn't look like this, but you want it to look like this, we can, I think in the email that we send, we can send the resume template so you can get it. So after your name, you're going to put a couple of really, really important things for us to understand how to get in touch with you and also to check you out online. So you're going to put your city, you're going to put your phone number, which is really important. A lot of people leave out their phone number. You're going to put your email, the one you check the most. And something I say about email is if it's like one of those really long, like university emails that has like 3,000, like, things at the end, it's like, and it has periods and everything, like, don't use that one. Create a Gmail account that is very, very simple with your first or your last name, your first initial, your last name at gmail.com. Why? Because sometimes a recruiter is working in a second screen. And so sometimes they may copy and paste your email. They may just write it out, right? So if you have very complicated email addresses, it makes it easier for them to make a mistake. And how mad would you be if you didn't get a job because your email wasn't correct, right? And that's happened before. Also, your LinkedIn link, right? You want to put your LinkedIn so that people can see your LinkedIn, and you want to put it like this. I'm going to type it out. For those of you who are watching non-live, it's literally LinkedIn and colon, which is the 2 dots. And then you're going to put your customized URL, and you can customize your URL on LinkedIn by going on your profile and then going to settings. And then you can put anything you want after the LinkedIn URL. So you can kind of customize what comes after it. I would say, again, keep it really simple so it's easy for people to find you. Also do the same with GitHub and your portfolio. Bonus points if you can make them all the same shortened username so that you can have a presence across platforms with the same branding, right? Again, this is a marketing document. So what's important about marketing is branding, right? So for the next thing you want to look at is your education, right? You see education, your skills, your experience, your projects, and leadership. Why is it like this? Because basically it will read from top to bottom, where did you study and what skills are you studying? How good are you at them? So like your GPA is really good at gauging, okay, how good are you at, learning certain things? What college did you go to? So that gives me an idea of what resources you have access to and things like that, and where are you located geographically. You don't want to put your high school if you're past like sophomore year, because it's not really relevant. If you're a freshman, you can go ahead and put it on. Then knowing where you studied, it's going to take me your skills. So you're going to tell me, okay, like this is what I know. And that's going to give me an idea of like, okay, so this is what they've studied. Now your experience is going to tell me what you can do. Right? So in your experience, even if it's non-technical related, you want to put experience right after skills because it'll show me your soft skills as well. Right? So for a lot of people, they're like, well, my bullet points, I don't know what to put in them. And it's like, well, making sure that you are showing your impact, even if it's non-technical experience, like you can definitely show what you did and how you've grown in as like a leader in soft skills, right? And as a potential employee. So after the experience, there's going to be the projects, which is going to talk to me more about your passions and also what you can do technologically. And then lastly, it's leadership and awards. Leadership and awards is very important because it shows me what you're involved in outside of just school. And that's always very important. Okay. So any questions so far? No questions? All right, perfect. So how do you strengthen and tailor a resume? So going from good to great, right? Some of you said, I think my resume is good, but I want it to be great. So how do we do that? Well, we want to first build better bullet points. So those okay bullet points that you built, you want to tell me, like, look at it and say, okay, what is missing here? Like, does it say what I did? Does it say how I did it? And does it say why it matters? If any of those are missing, then go ahead and try to add it and like rework that bullet point so you get all three things. The reason why you want to put it that way is because it's really, really simple to show exactly what your impact is and exactly what you worked on and exactly what you're technologically savvy at. Okay. So the why it matters, you want to add numbers, you want to add details. So like you want to say, you know, I developed a backend for this website using Java, right? And that's what you did and how you did it, but why it matters in order to increase traffic by 15% for the quarter, right? If you do it that way, you can showcase that you are very valuable because you build something that helps the company be more efficient and helps everybody at the company just kind of move a lot more efficiently and faster, right? So you also want to make sure that your bullet points are not super like dense. So you don't want to have paragraphs, but you do want to have you know, just sentences, 2 sentences max. Okay. So tailoring for opportunities, right? So if you are deciding versus like being a software engineer versus a data scientist versus a PM, my suggestion is build a resume for each of them, right? Look at the skills that a PM needs, look at the skill set that a data scientist needs, and look at the skill set that a software engineer needs, and see how you can pull out more things from that specific role. So for example, if you had a role and it calls for very technical, like you're applying for a software engineering role, you want to be very technical. But if you're applying for a PM role, you might want to focus on collaboration and management, right? If you're focusing on data science, you might want to focus on metrics. So even though they're all the same role, there's different ways to look at it, right? Okay. So we're going to do some activities with some fake resumes, and then we're going to move on to some of your resumes if you want to do that. Okay. So let's take about a minute to look at Stephen Greet's resume. Let's take a minute and then we're going to talk about it. Okay. So I'm going to put a minute on the clock. So y'all go ahead. And review Stephen's resume. Go ahead and review it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I want to see how much time. Okay, we have 15 seconds left. 15 seconds. All right. All right. Okay, so how many of you would hire Stephen Greet? Okay.
I would say it was a little hard to read because, you know, he uses the column, so I had to like go back and forth, but I would at least give him a interview.
So he would be in the yes pile. But, right, it was a little bit hard to read. What are some things that were not great about it?
I think the color of the text is kind of hard to read with that color.
What else?
I feel like the different sizes of the font was like too distracting. Like the company to like the name of the intern. That was like distracting for me. I was like,
Mhm.
didn't make my eyes like flow down correctly. So
Exactly, right? What are some things that he did well or they did well?
They're very good at like describing the result, like the good thing that they delivered to the company that they work at, and
Mhm.
what technology do they use in like they use in the project.
Okay, yeah, they were really good at describing, right? So I want to show this, right? Worked on building new Angular components for the customer-facing web app, which improves the time on page for the average user by 2 minutes. Did he answer what? What did he do? Oh no. Yeah. He answered what, right? He worked on building new Angular components, right? Did he answer how? By using Angular components, right? He worked on a customer-facing web app by using Angular components. Yeah, so he told me what and how. And then why, right? He improved the time on a page of the average user by 2 minutes, right? So he is telling me what, how, and why, right? Let's see another one. Yeah, I think he used what, how, and why in all of them. So what else did he do well?
I liked in the projects how he like listed the technologies at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right?
in case I didn't have time, at least I read those.
Exactly. Amazing, right? What else? What is one last thing that he did well or they did well?
He gave a very good brief description at the beginning of the resume on what he's looking for.
So yes, that's actually something really interesting they pointed out. So yes, he does. However, that's actually not required. So that's actually something that I would say is a no-no because we don't want to give these summaries. The resume should be able to speak for itself. Okay. So I would say the other thing that he did well, he listed his skills in education. So he was trying to really show that he was really qualified. Okay. So we're going to take another minute. And we're going to now look at Terrence Kuo's resume. We're going to give you a minute to look at it. Okay. So you let me know, or I'll let you know when it's a minute, when a minute is up. Okay. We have about 30 seconds left. Okay. We're rounding out. See? Okay. Perfect. So we're going to stop. So who was able to get through Terrence's resume? No, right? It's a little hard. Why?
There's a lot of text.
There's a ton of text. Yes, there is, right? So do you see how using a lot of words is actually not to your advantage? Right? Because a lot of the times we try to use words and we're like, we need to put this on there. Like everybody needs to know, blah, 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 blah. And then in reality, it's like, no, actually, because it's so hard to read, right? So what are some things, what are some other things that he maybe didn't do so well? Or they didn't do so well?
I kind of wish that the skills were placed on the top so I could kind of get an idea of what he done, and then I can like find that proof at the bottom. But I did like how he kind of, with his coursework, he like separated programming coursework versus EE coursework. And then
Yeah. Okay.
the like city name in the beginning of the education kind of like threw me off.
Right? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So again, right? It's because it's hard to read, right? And so that's why with the templates, we want you to go line by line because it's a little bit, it's hard to read three things that are in three different places. Do you see that? It's easier to left align everything. So your eye naturally goes, we read left to right, right? So you want to just work with the body's biology rather than making someone straight. What did he do well? Or what did they do well? Because we don't know if it's a he, if he's a he.
They include links to everything, and also a lot of stats, like improved devices battery lifespan by 8% by doing whatever.
Yeah, that's really great, right? That they were able to do that. Good format. Yes. So it's a good format, but it's a little wordy, right? But yeah, what's another good thing that they did?
I feel like they have a lot of like projects and experience to like showcase their skill set. So sounds good.
Yeah, exactly, right? They put everything down. They put a lot of projects. So even though they have a lot of like internships, they also put down a lot of projects. So if you don't have a lot of experience, it's okay to put down projects, right? Because again, as a student, people know that you're not going to be the most experienced. All right. So we're going to look at Stephen Greet again. So I'm going to take 1 minute so that y'all can look at this. Okay. Go ahead and take a look. Okay, we have about 15 seconds left. So go ahead and look at them. Look at the resume, see what you can gather. All right. So what do we like about Stephen's resume?
So I like that he put his soccer experience in because it kind of shows like other interests besides like technology, and has that leadership skill.
Okay, what else do we like?
Well, one other thing is I like this time, I think he put full stack developer instead of at the top, instead of like software engineer. Just I guess it'd be like maybe that's more of the type of role he wants instead of a general like cast all. So I don't know if that's like also bad because it could also pigeonhole him. So
So I would say that kind of pigeonholes you unless you know you want to do that and you have a lot of experience doing that, which he doesn't. Or they don't, right? So because they only have one project on here, right? That's really all they have. So it's, if they were just full stack and had done a lot of projects in full stack and, then it would be easier. But since they haven't, that's a little bit more pigeonholy, right? So what don't we like about his resume? The order of things. Why, Celeste? Why don't we like the order of things? Like, what about the order of things makes it hard or difficult to read? Yep. But why? Why do you think education should be at the top? Why do you think skills should be at the top? Like, why is it harder to read when education is in the middle and skills are at the bottom? And anyone can answer that question.
One idea that comes to mind is, yeah, I kind of like what Celeste put right now because he's a student. I feel like putting your education, especially since he says present, so then the recruiter can kind of categorize the person like, okay, they're students, so this is the experience. Because with the project in the beginning, I was like, okay, is he like early career, like senior? I don't know. So I feel like maybe having that education in the background, being like, I am a student studying right now, and this is how I explored my education.
Right. So, it's because it's very confusing if you don't know. And so if you are not a student, you put education at the bottom because you have more experience. But if you are a student, even if you're a new grad and if you've been out of school less than a year, you put your education first so people know you're a student. I will say, we don't want to put summaries and things like that because that can get a little confusing, right? So, and usually it's a lot more words. So we try to not do that. But yeah, congratulations. You all were recruiters for a day. How does it feel? Good. How does everybody feel being recruiters for a day? Good. So imagine if this was your job 24/7. Literally you reviewed, I think I've reviewed up to maybe 1,000 resumes per session. What if you had to do this 1,000 times?
I will spend very like minimal time on each one.
Exactly, right? We spend a lot of time. We spend a minute and then we spend about 5 minutes talking about it. That's 6 whole minutes, right? If you have to do that 1,000 times, I'm not great with math, so I'm going to use my calculator. 6,000 minutes, that would be 100 hours to review 1,000 resumes. Do you think that people spend 1,000 hours reviewing 100 resumes? No, right? They spend 6 seconds. So if it's 1,000 resumes, right? If it's 1,000 resumes, yes. So then it's 6. They maybe spend an hour, right? An hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, right? And so I'm not sure if my math is correct, but they spend a lot less time than what they should, right? If we were really giving people the benefit of the doubt. So the reason being, you want to put a template that's easy to read, that follows structure, and that shows your impact, because boom, 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 right? We're gonna just hit it, make sure we're in this yes pile. Because when in this yes pile, guess what? It goes from 1,000 resumes to maybe 100, right? So you want to be in those 100 that it's like, I'm going to try to look at your resume again, try to interview, see if you're good. Okay. So a bullet point glow up, right? How do you make better bullet points? And this is what we were taught, what a lot of y'all were talking about today. So can we see the difference between the left side is like good bullet points. The right side is great bullet points, right? So let's look at the left side. Collaborate on the creation of new SQL database in order to increase overall efficiency and transparency, right? It's a good bullet point. You know, it tells us what we need to know. But then let's look at the right side. Created a new SQL database in collaboration with the data science team, resulting in a centralized location for company data visible to all employees. What is the difference? Why is one good and why is one great?
The better one goes to the details on
Mhm.
like, the result of your action.
Exactly, right? The better one talks about what type of database, SQL, what type of team, data science, and who did it impact? All the employees, right? I would say to make this even better, I would say how many people were on the data science team and how many employees did it actually impact? Okay. How about the second one? Design web pages and provided beneficial IT support and assistance to other employees, performed other duties as assigned by managers. Instead, and the better one is redesign a company homepage using React, resulting in easier navigation, mobile responsiveness, and clearly defined account registration. That's the first bullet point. The second bullet point, oversaw all technical support for a 12-person team, including hardware and software, inventory licenses, and troubleshooting. Why is this the right hand better, the right side better?
Say the person is using the technology, so saying React, and then also adding like a number of like how many group members were there.
Exactly. Talked about specific tasks, right? Yes. So the more specific, the better. But notice it's not that specific that it gets wordy, because if you see like this was broken down into 2 bullet points, but none of them are like super long, right? That's what we're aiming for. That's what's really hard about crafting bullet points. But once you're really good at doing that, then you can craft them for whatever experience, right? So just kind of take these examples for your own bullet points. And if you want to do more like in-depth bullet point creation, you can come to one of our resume review sessions and we can go in depth with that. So the third bullet point, right? Proactively participated in weekly team meetings and conducted reports on the project's progress versus delivered project reports and timeline updates during a weekly executive meeting, responding to questions and feedback. Why is the right better?
Okay.
Yes.
I think Celeste answered something, so I'll let her. Let her.
Yeah, so Celeste answered something. It's perfect, right? Right side talks about what the person actually did instead of just saying participated. Exactly. So the goal here is to showcase what you actually did, not that you assisted, not that you just participated, right? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. We have about 15 minutes, so we have time to review maybe 2 resumes in this group if anybody would want to do that. Would anybody want to? Okay, so if you want to, we're actually going to have you share the screen. And then I will stop sharing and then you can share. Yes, we can review yours, Vin, but go ahead and share your screen.
You see?
Yeah, so I'm going to stop sharing really quick. There you go. Yep, exactly. So Vin, we're going to put 1 minute on the clock. You guys are getting a little bit longer than a minute. So All right, 1 minute on the clock. Everybody go, go, go. And then can we see your name or it's not?
Okay.
Yes.
Zoom.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. So we still have 45 seconds. Everybody go. All right. So how's everybody feeling about Vin's resume? All right. Feeling good, feeling great. All right. What's good about Vin's resume?
I liked how you put your like skills in languages and like, you have your programming, operating, and then other tools. I like how that was like a overall arching thing because for mine, I have it kind of separated,
Mhm.
but now I feel like I'm coming like it's a little hard to read. So I'm thinking about like taking off stuff. So I like the way that you've done it to make it a little bit easier to read on that part. It's a good job.
Thanks, Shimmy. Shimmy's leaving. So thanks, Shimmy. All right, perfect. So yes, everything that Gabriela said, I would agree with. I would say, there's a couple of things that I noticed. Your GitHub and your LinkedIn or your GitHub is not on underneath your name. Your education looks good, but you don't have, I would combine the Bachelor of Science. So I'd put Bachelor of Science. I would take away the College of Science and Engineering. I would combine Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Math and just put it on one line. And I would put comma GPA 3.99. So congratulations on that. You don't need cumulative GPA. You can just put 3.99. For Texas Christian University, I would put dash Fort Worth, Texas, and then move the date up to where Fort Worth, Texas is. Okay, so those are the changes I would make in education. Then I would put relevant coursework underneath Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Mathematics and limit it to 2 lines only. So just pick the ones that are the best for you and then get rid of that entire section. Then your technical skills and languages look good. Your work experience looks good. Let me see. Just adding how many students did you assist and what happened, right? In that first bullet point, like how many students did you assist and what resulted? Like, did the grades improve? I like your second bullet point, right? I would just add what happened and why was it important that you graded, right? Okay, that first bullet point for the housing and residence life and fraternity sorority life, it's a great bullet point. Second bullet point is good. Third bullet point, I'm not sure if that should be on there. I would say the last bullet point is maybe you can combine third and fourth bullet point and talk about like staff training and like how many people did you actually help with staffing and how many students did that training impact with the staff being trained correctly. And then the student affairs computer science tutor, how many people did you actually help, right? And what specific knowledge gaps, and then also what was the outcome of that, right? Then with the extra space you're going to have because of your relevant coursework is going to be kind of combined with education. I would put in at least 2 projects, right? And then I would combine leadership and academic honors and just put leadership experience, not with an S, just experience. And I would just bullet point out, or just how you have academic honors, I would just put Omega Delta Phi fraternity right underneath that. And then you'll have a lot more space for projects. Okay. All right. Good job, Vin. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having your resume reviewed. If you want a longer resume review, you can come to resume review section and we can go from there. Does anybody else want their resume reviewed?
I'll do it unless someone really wants to, because I've had my resume reviewed before.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, go ahead and share.
Okay, I'll just go and do that. Okay. Sure. Okay, where are we?
Oh my gosh, you've come such a long way.
I know. Okay, I think is it too small? Like, can you read everything?
I would make it a little bit more, I would zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little bit hard.
Oh no, I think that's too
Yeah,
less.
I think that's fine. I
Like
think,
that. Okay.
yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. We're gonna put 1 minute on the clock to review Gabriella's resume. Okay. Okay, so how do y'all like Gabriella's resume?
I really like how there are a lot of numbers that really speak to the result of what you did.
We worked really hard on that, so I know that she appreciates it.
I know it took me hours to make those bullet points, but I know there's some that still need improvements, like in the
Good.
projects. Like I worked a lot on the experience bullet points, but not so much on the technical bullet points.
Any other feedback?
I really like your skills and certifications section. I like the way that you like broke it down by like different niches, and then the way you bold your technologies within the bullet points for experience themselves. I feel like it makes it a little easier to kind of see exactly what you did.
Any other feedback? Okay, well then I'll go in real quick. So me and Gabriella have worked really hard on this. I'm very proud of you. I think this looks so much better, right? It's a lot more clear, so I appreciate that. So I think the top is really great. Your education is great. I would just put, instead of September 2020 through present, just put your graduation date. Good job on your GPA, your 4.0 GPA. I would probably not bold associative science and computer programming. I would actually bold relevant coursework. Just the relevant coursework title.
Oops, sorry.
You're good. And then your University of California, San Diego is good. You I also noticed, I didn't notice in Vin's if he put CodePath or not. So you want to make sure you put CodePath down as well.
Yeah, I put it right here, but that's what I'm saying with my skill set. I go back and forth of I used to have like these in one.
Yeah.
But
So-
then I don't know when I decided to separate it.
So that's what I was gonna say. That's probably like what I would change is that I would actually put your skills and certifications. I would put languages, and then I would put data, like other tools or databases, and then just put all of them together. And remember to put only the ones that you're really, really good at. Okay.
Yeah, that's another question I was gonna ask because like I mean like these languages I've had exposure to, but I'm not like proficient in it. So I wonder whether I should put that in. And even like Tableau, I mean I've had exposure to Tableau, but I don't know if I should put it in. So I
Yeah,
feel like maybe probably not.
So it's better to put the things that you know how to do versus like something that you don't know how to use because you don't know what people are going to ask you about. I would say their certificate, it was good where it was, right?
Oh, okay.
But you want to combine database, big data, machine learning, all of those you want to combine, right? And you want to just make sure that it's just one thing. And remember, go through and be like, do I really know this or do I not? And then I don't think source control needs to be on there. And so it should just be languages, databases, tools, software, and then certificate. There should be 4 max.
Okay. You said something that shouldn't be on there, but my keyboard types so loud that I often can't hear people. So what was that you said?
Yeah, so Git and GitHub should not be on there.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So with your experience, I think it looks great, right? I love your bullet points. I love all of the numbers. I would say in the second bullet point, I would put how many employees did you help, right? And then I would put a third bullet point, just talking more about your experience, because having more bullet points than less is always good. All good, Vin. Thank you so much. And then for the city of Los Angeles, so the first bullet point is good, but you want to tell me what happened once you identified the SQL queries, right? Like resulting in what? That second bullet point is great. That third bullet point looks great. If you know how much it improved procedures by, that's even better. But if not, that looks great. Sorry about my dog. She doesn't like when people are outside. So the first bullet point of the University of Redlands International Student Program Coordinator looks great. Second bullet point looks great. And then third bullet point looks great. For your technical projects, I would say add one more bullet point for each, right? Just talking about the technical aspect of it. I know it's a little bit hard, but you want to add that bullet point, that second bullet point. And then your leadership looks good. So it's just, trying to add a little bit more technicality. But other than that, I think it looks good. I think you're well on your way. It looks a lot better than when we first started. So I really am proud of you because I'm like, I know this is a labor of love.
I do have one question. Is one thing that I struggle with is, so my projects have mostly been just like class projects, not necessarily personal projects. So I struggle with the last part of like, why was it important or what type of impact was it? Why did it matter? Why did it matter? Because I was like, well, I had to do it for a class project. So
I would just say like focus not so much on the impact of like it had on other people, but just like focus on like what you learned to do. So like, for example, in like sticker XYZ, improve legacy code for fictional e-commerce website by building database, improving front end aesthetic, and fixing deprecated code. I would put the second bullet point as something like used CSS or PHP to build out like the back end in order to make it a little bit more like just more accessible, right? Or something like that. Talk more about the technology, less about the impact in the projects, because they are side projects. So no one expects you to like have all of that stuff figured out.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah. So with that, it is 5 p.m. Do y'all have any questions? If no one has questions, then I will let y'all go, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you. And then also there's going to be a survey that pops up at the end, so please feel free to take it. Let us know how we did. We love to hear your feedback. Always, always, always. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.